Arsenal extend the stay of the best striker in the league. United seemingly close to replacing Luke Overweight Shaw. And Liverpool are still looking behind the sofas and under the couch to try and find money to get Thiago in. This is Talk Football. Welcome. And I am joined this evening once again by my lovely co-host. Wow, that was quite breathful. Actually, I need to take a break there. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Enjoying the good weather
doing
that
good.
we've got now.
Good, good. Nabi, how's it going? How you doing?
Yeah, doing okay. I don't think we've got the good weather part yet.
Nah, no, quite a bit away from that actually.
Oh yeah, it's roasting down here.
Yeah.
Absolutely roasting.
But before we get going, I remember this time. I'm gonna put all our socials in the description. So please make sure to follow us on Twitter, on and subscribe on YouTube, and also you can find us on Instagram. All the socials they're all gonna be down in the description. So please have a look, follow us, like us, and interact with us. Any questions or anything that you might have, let us know. So how was your weekend, guys? I imagine Nabi yours was a bit dull because United weren't playing in game week 1.
I did
Football
enjoy the
wise,
cricket on Sunday.
sorry.
Uh, Football. I didn't. Well, I didn't enjoy. I did enjoy the cricket on Sunday, but football-wise, the games are all right. Liverpool game was entertaining.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was, it was.
That was your weekend, Chubbs.
Yeah, good. I was in London. Enjoyed a little family gathering before the recommendation of 6 turns into a legal, law-abiding 6. So yeah, now back home and restricted to wherever the lockdown rules are now,
No,
which none of us know. So
no, no. It's yeah. Let's not get into that. That's a completely different discussion for probably a different podcast. Um, Anyway, this week, yeah, obviously just gonna go over the results and performances. Just to start off, actually, because you didn't have a game, Nabi, just I guess a roundup on United. I saw that you guys are potentially agreeing, close rather to agreeing, signing the new left back. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. From Real Madrid.
Regulon,
Reguillon.
Reguillo. Okay.
It's even French,
Got
right?
it
You just
wrong.
put in a French accent and doing a Joey Barton for no reason. How are you
Yeah,
feeling
we
about
don't
him?
agree or accept the accents that Nabi does.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. They do not
that's all on
represent the
him.
views of talk football.
They do not.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that? Are you optimistic?
Well, if quietly optimistic. If they can get him, it will be a really good signing. But yeah, the stories are that what the holdup is on the Real Madrid want a buyback clause. United aren't so keen on it, but the people in the know seem to think that they'll get a resolution done. Although the people in the know also thought the Sancho thing would get resolved as well. So don't know how much you can actually trust it, but looking forward to it if he does come.
Oh,
He'll be much needed in that position.
there's still quite a while to go in the window to get the Sancho deal done. But in terms of when you're saying the buyback, why is that an issue? Because wouldn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't that only sort of come into effect if United are looking to sell him? Then they would sort of get the first pick, or
I think it's more if Real Madrid wanted him back, they could get him back on the cheap.
right? Okay, fair. But would that not just also, like I'm saying, like would that not be based on if United want to sell him?
Well, that could be the hold up in the deal. Real
All
Madrid
right,
say we can activate it. United say we want to activate it.
activate it. Fair dues. And obviously, you've got your first. Well, you guys are going live game week 2. I've been seeing a couple of clips online in terms of how the friendlies that you've been playing. How are you feeling? I'm not sure if you've sort of seen any other friendlies. How are you feeling sort of ahead of the first fixture with the new signing Donny van de Beek in? And do you think he'll
Well,
start?
yeah, I know they had a well, I know they had a preseason game on Saturday. I think they lost 1-0 to Villa, but apparently that was just to get minutes. And the lineups were I saw a couple different lineups. I'm not actually sure who actually lined up, but I think everybody got some minutes. In terms of Saturday, well, Well, I think Van de Beek will start. I think that's because I don't think Bruno's really had any game time, and Pogba's obviously coming back from his virus. So and he's probably the most ready of them. So I think in that sense he will get some game time. So and it'll be interesting to see if they can pick up where they left off or not.
Yeah, it would be interesting actually. And Crystal Palace as well. They've already had the game. I think it was 1-0 Saha goal at the weekend. So yeah, they're sort of more or less. Yeah, I suppose yeah they've got that head start on you guys. But I guess with the quality that United do have, you would expect them to come out on top. Though it won't be an easy fixture. And also, one other thing I just wanted to sort of
No,
get you. Sorry.
no, it's not. Palace are a good team, especially when they're on the counter, which
Yeah,
will be a threat to United. So yeah.
yeah, indeed. And like I was saying, I just wanted to get your thoughts on um, the Mason Greenwood situation. Just to see what your thoughts are. Personally, I kind of feel like the stick he's getting is a little, well, not a little, is incredibly unfair. He's a kid essentially, isn't he? 18 years old. You know how many times did we do stupid things at that age? And people will say he should
Well,
expect
as,
a lot more. Sorry.
well, as you know, I was a very sensible boy. I didn't get into all that, but money could have changed me.
They do say money changes people, but yeah, what are your thoughts, sort of briefly on it?
Well, I think the Iceland thing was definitely his bad. He shouldn't have done that. He has come out and apologised. But I think the video that came out of him on the inhaling the drug, that seemed a bit deliberate. That they went out to find something to put out on him, just timing wise, because the Iceland thing came out. So I don't know if it's actually been verified when that actually happened.
Or in terms of the
But
timeline of the inhaling the gas?
yeah, I'm not sure when it actually happened. It just seemed a bit convenient that that video came out now when the whole Iceland thing happened.
What are your thoughts been on his on the reception, the treatment that he's been getting um, online?
I think he obviously does deserve the criticism of what he did. Obviously, yeah, he should get leeway, well, not some understanding of his age and the circumstances in a sense. But I think the important thing is as long as he learns from it, now,
Yeah,
as long as nothing else comes up, I think yeah, some of the criticism has definitely been overboard. Of Foden as well, I
yeah,
suppose.
exactly,
Both of them.
exactly. Now, obviously, he's Manchester City.
Especially people who say, are questioning their place in the if the people that are questioning their places in the England team. I don't think that's really relevant. I think they'll get picked
Nah,
on
but
their
then again,
performance like everyone
you can
else.
then start going back. Wayne Rooney, Jack Wilshere. You start questioning their places. They've all done things that they probably regret when they were younger, that ended up in the front pages or back pages. So that doesn't necessarily mean that, and they seem to have learned from it. And I'm pretty sure
E-
these two will also learn from it. I don't sort of see a repeat incident happening again off the same thing, because we had something similar with Lacazette last year, where a video was leaked of him inhaling gas as well. But yeah, it's one of these
Yeah,
things.
even Grealish has had his incidents recently.
Oh yeah, well yeah, he had his even a few years ago. I remember the picture of him face planted when he was on lad's holiday with his mates, wasn't he? And he was absolutely wasted. And yeah, recently with the whole COVID thing when he was breaking the rules, but can't really call him a kid anymore, can we? But these guys are still really young. Shabs, I'm not sure if you want to put your 2 cents into that.
Yeah, I think Southgate could have defended him a bit better.
Yeah,
I know he was getting asked questions about it, but I think he could have done a bit more to protect them. It's funny how it happened on international duty and things like that go down, and now the whole inhaling the gas stuff come out, and yeah, it's all happened away from Manchester United, hasn't it?
yeah,
So I think he'll come back to the club and it will die down a bit, and he'll just let his performances on the pitch do the talking.
so
You'd
yeah,
expect. So
yeah,
both players will learn from it. It was a mistake, but they're young. They'll learn, and it'll be forgotten, won't it?
yeah. I personally agree. I think the only way to quickly sort of make people forget about it is to perform on the pitch.
Yeah,
That's the only
exactly.
way to
Yeah.
do it. So moving on to the weekend results, we'll start off with the thriller at Anfield, the thriller in Manila. You had the 4-3. What's the game, by the way, with Leeds? Just to start off with Leeds first, just to sort of briefly get your guys' thoughts on it. How do you guys think they'll fare? Personally, I don't think they'll get relegated this year. I
Yeah,
do think
completely
though that
agree.
they will, because the way that they were pressing you guys pretty much the whole game. I don't know if they'll be able to sustain that over the whole period in the Premier League, the whole season. Sorry, in the Premier League. I think unless obviously you get new recruits in January and the window is still open, so they could get more recruits in to sort of strengthen their squad. But yeah, with the players that they have, yeah, I do think it will be tough, but it was good to see them back in the Premier League.
Yes, definitely. I think that would be the one question everyone would want to ask, really, to be honest, isn't it? Is if they can sustain that. I
Yeah,
wasn't even sure if they could have sustained it for the second half, but they did.
yeah,
So I think that would be the big question on everyone's mind: is that can they sustain the high intensity and the pressure? I'm sure Leeds fans will say and have been saying from watching the Championship that they can, but this is the Premier League. It's a different ball game. It's different levels. We will have to wait and see
intensity will be
whether they
different as
can.
well from the Championship. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of teams will be able to play out of it a lot more easily. Not easily, but there'll be more often that they'll get played out compared to what they would have done in the championships. And a team can just take one chance and score, whereas in the championship they might have needed to take a few. So yeah, it's a completely different game, isn't it? So, but I enjoyed watching them, and I think they'll cause a lot of teams a lot of
A lot
problems.
of
And I think
yeah,
all the big guys would have big teams would have kept an eye on that one
yeah.
after
I
seeing what they
com-
did against us.
completely agree. I'm not sure, Adam, if there's anything you wanna add on to.
About Leeds, no, I think they did very well. I think they will have their spells, or they'll maybe have a dip in form, but I think Bielsa will have enough know-how to be able to turn that around. So I
Yeah,
think overall, I think they will have a good season.
yeah. I couldn't agree more with you guys. So Shabs, good to get off to a winning start, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I think people will say, "Oh, we looked bad defensively. We looked off the ball a bit," which is true. But I don't think we looked too much better against Norwich when we won 4-1 in the first game of last season. Norwich had a lot of chances, and they just weren't able to take them. I remember Pukki missing a couple. So
To be fair, the only thing
that Norwich game could
I
have
would
easily been a 4-3, to be honest.
I would say to sort of challenge that is, you weren't defending Premier League champions then, whereas this season I think there will be a lot more pressure.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely. We're the
like
target now, aren't we?
yeah,
So
yeah, I completely agree.
um,
I do sort of kind of I guess just sort of going with the team. Just starting off with the starting lineup. I'm not sure if was it what you pretty much expected, or did you see a few surprises in there for you?
my only surprise probably was Henderson, just because I didn't think he'd be fit enough to start, and I think he did look off the ball a little bit, to be honest, during the game. I don't think he had the same energy that he'd normally have. I don't think our whole midfield, well, Henderson and Wijnaldum did enough in terms of energy and pressing that they normally would. I think Leeds probably won that battle over the course of the game. I think Keita did very well and impressed. But I don't think the other two did their job. We looked a bit more assured when Fabinho came on, to be honest. And I think going forward, it would be a Fabinho, Henderson, Keita kind of combination. I would have liked to see Fabinho start, to be honest, but yeah, that would be my only surprise. The only other thing was Trent. He's had a couple of games for England which were quite average, but understandable because he's not been back long. Which made me wonder if he would have started right back in the Premier League or if Gomez would have just slotted in for the first game. But he did start and he looked a bit off again. He obviously got megged for that first goal. I'm sure both of you saw that. Following up with Gomez getting megged. So he didn't have a good time and all of our threat was near enough
Well,
coming
are
off
you
from
just
the
gonna
left hand
brush
side
over
with
the?
Robertson.
Didn't he score an own goal as well?
Yeah,
You just talking.
luckily
You
it was
know,
offside, but
yeah.
no, it was offside in the end, so there's not much to say about it. But it was the strangest thing ever, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I was looking back at the replays, I just don't understand what he did. Like he moved his head to clear the ball, and he just put it into the back of the net. I just don't
He
understand
seemed
it.
to misjudge it, didn't he? He seemed to
Yeah,
his head
I
kind of
think he
went.
seemed to have misjudged the bounce of the ball. I don't know if the ball was curling a bit or spinning, whatever, but whatever reason, he just misjudged the bounce. So when he headed it, it made the wrong contact on. He looked
it,
he
it,
looked to
it
his
was
right or left or whatever, and the
it
offside
was
flag
funny.
went up. So
Saved
On
by
all's
the
well,
flag.
all's
Alexander
well.
Arnold,
But
just on the topic of AA, I've noticed that he wasn't taking the corners as much. Robertson was taking quite a few corners. Is that going to be a thing going forward? Is that just for that game?
I think they go either way. I think they like the corner going in to out, so they liked it coming towards the players rather than towards the keeper, curling outwards. So Trent was taking them from the other side. It's just we had corners more often from Robbo's side. But yeah, Robbo's delivery gave us a goal with the Van Dijk header, so I wouldn't mind either way, really. They're both very good crosses of the ball.
That's true. Yeah, they are. They are. Just to, I guess, touch on your defense. I get what you're saying, that that you're not sort of too worried, but personally, I don't know. I am a little bit worried for you, as a Liverpool fan, because I do feel like there's a little bit of, I know it's just the first game, but even just sort of looking at the last couple of games, even including the Community Shield, there's an element of an arrogance, that's sort of creeping in to Liverpool, and if it sort of gets into the whole team, I think it could be a huge problem for you guys, because yeah. I don't think it'll be Van Dijk has been sort of labeled before, having that sort of confidence, personality, etc. But there's a fine line between being confident and then just being downright cocky, I guess. Because that example was, I don't know why he was sort of trying to bring down that ball that came over his head the way he was trying to bring it down. It didn't make any sense to me. If you're not uncertain about it, just clear the ball. I guess the fortunate thing here, why it's probably not highlighted as much, is you won the game. But
It's the
there
main
could be
thing, yeah.
incidences that where you might not win the game, if these mistakes. Because the thing is, I do get it. Opening game of the season, fair enough. But that I guess the thing that I just want to emphasize, that there have been a few mistakes that your defense has been making, over this last sort of month and a bit, and it's whether it's becoming a bit of a habit or not, I'm not sure. But like I said, it is something that I would, as a Liverpool fan, if I was a Liverpool fan, sorry, I would want to sort of keep an eye on, because it could potentially progress into something a lot worse. Not that I'm saying that it will. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a worry. I think what Van Dijk did was a bit of arrogance, but then he's shown levels of arrogance before, and I think if he does pull that off, everyone just applauds him and just says that's just Van Dijk, don't they? He's done that previously, and it's just one of those ones where it's not worked out, and he looks stupid for it, and he probably won't try that again.
But I would say
To be honest.
previously, though, teams weren't pressing Liverpool the way that, for example, Leeds were. Or
Well,
example, the
yeah,
way that
that's true.
The way that Arsenal did in the Carling Cup, or even the time when we played you guys at the Emirates. So it seems now that when you press Liverpool, they can make those mistakes.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's arrogance or just confidence trying to play that way, no matter what. And then if you do make the errors, you just keep going. Luckily, Salah had an
He
unreal
had an absolute
game
stormer,
and
didn't
sorted
he?
us out.
He had an absolute
Yeah,
stormer, Salah.
so that happened, and it was a surprise really because I thought the other two were doing better in preseason compared to
Hmm.
Salah. But
Yeah.
that's how preseason
I
works
don't I don't know if
sometimes.
you saw, it was a Monday Night Football when, the guys on Sky Sports, were talking about it, and I think it was Gary Neville was saying that he has that sort of, selfish mentality that could take him,
He's
you know,
always had it, hasn't
yeah,
he? And
that could
people complain
elevate
about
him.
it, don't they, as well?
That could potentially elevate him to make him that sort of world class,
Well,
potentially a Ballon d'Or winner, if he continues the way he's
Ma-
going.
Mane's complained about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
that's just football, isn't it? That's within your team. It happens. But in terms of general fans and stuff, even Liverpool fans, like if you told them who they would be willing, not willing to leave, but who they miss the least in terms of a player, it would probably be Salah out the front three. We all know that Firmino's loved by Liverpool fans, and we all know Mane's loved by Liverpool fans. But due to Salah's selfishness on the pitch and that arrogance and the fact that he's always looking to be the goal scorer, there's a certain distaste about it amongst Liverpool fans. Like we do love him, but that has always caused a bit of an issue amongst fans. So for
Yeah.
Gary Neville to say that as being the reason he would then eclipse players like Mane and be the one to get the Ballon d'Or or possibly get the Ballon d'Or,
No,
it
but
says that's just what you have to
it's
be, don't you?
it's yeah.
You have to
I
be
was about
that
to
player.
say because for me the perfect example of that is Ronaldo. He literally is very single-minded in that sense that I have to score, I have to, and with that he's backed it up with the quality. There is a difference. You could have the arrogance like Nicholas Bentner but then not have the quality, which he didn't. Whereas if you have the quality like Ronaldo and Salah do, you could potentially become the best player in the world. So
He's
yeah,
looking for the individual accolades, isn't it? Salah
yeah,
wants to be the top goal scorer. He wants to win the individual awards. He wants to be the Ballon d'Or.
yeah.
Whereas Mane more likely, or Firmino probably more likely, want to see the team win the Premier League and team win the Champions League, and the team get the most goals. Like they're not always looking for the individual stats or the accolades. So I think that's where the difference comes in mindset,
With
and
that, then
probably what
I would
causes Salah to
then
get the goals.
I would then ask you this question with that. Do you think then Salah is more likely to leave than Mane?
I think if Liverpool do drop and Salah feels like he can't get the titles with us, I think Salah's the one most likely to leave first. Um, if
No,
there
that's right.
was one to leave,
Yeah, yeah. Because I was
but
just
as
thinking.
long as we're still up there, I don't think he has that push. Unless there is a dream in there for him to play for Real Madrid or try something new, or whatever, which sometimes players have, especially players who aren't born and bred Liverpool, where they might want to play for Real Madrid once in their lifetime, or they might just feel like they want a new opportunity and just try something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Salah would be more likely to leave if there ever was one.
But the more important question is, who do you think is going to get the more fantasy points?
No idea, mate. So try your
It'll
luck.
probably be Salah. Like based on what we just talked about, it probably will be Salah because he has that sort of I want to score. I want. Whereas like we're saying,
Well,
it's
last two
almost like
seasons they kind of equaled in stats.
yeah, yeah. Because it's almost like
So
the
no matter how selfish Salah is, they've equaled somehow. So
yeah.
you
But I
know,
think that's also
but yeah,
down to how good Sadio Mane has been as well.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
But
yeah, it
yeah,
could go
I
either way.
think
But
no one in our league has Salah or had
no,
Salah for the first game week.
no. And
no,
that was an oversight from our part, to be fair.
but then like I said, he had a very poor preseason. But then it just shows how much preseason means, really. Sometimes.
Well, and
Preseason
he
generally
did
is
score
just
two
about
penalties.
fitness, isn't it? Sorry, Nabi.
He did score two penalties.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, but to be fair, he did have a very, very good game. Like beyond the penalties, he was the best player on the pitch.
He did, to be
But
fair.
my question would be to you guys, like looking at it as neutrals, do you think Leeds were naive to take that approach? Because you know how Norwich came up and everyone loved them. Oh, great football. They got the win against City playing that football. They went toe to toe. But then in the end, it was their downfall,
For
wasn't it? They
me,
just leaked goals.
I'll say it's yes.
Um, do you
It's
think Leeds were naive in that way?
it's yeah. For me, it's yes and no. And let me explain. Yes, because I you're going to the home of the Premier League champions and you play. To be fair, like for a neutral, it provided an absolutely amazing game, and I think Bielsa and the whole sort of Leeds fan base looking at it, they will feel pretty confident coming away from that. But I think this will be something that they'll probably learn throughout the season, that you also need to have an element of being mindful of the back door, like not just sort of not um just going sort of press because in the Premier League you've seen multiple examples recently, especially of Arsenal playing through teams that are pressing them. Just literally just in the Premier, it might not have happened so much in the Championship, uh, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I watch the championship week in week out. I don't know. I'm just assuming. But in terms of the Premier League, you will find more teams that will play through that press. So I think they will learn it through as they progress through the season. And no, because if that's how they play, I guess it's perfect that you're looking at the Norwich example, but then if you also look at Sheffield came up and they didn't change the way they played last season, and it worked wonders for them. So I think they could potentially adapt it slightly. Um, but yeah, like I said, for me, yes and no.
But what I would say in Leeds' defence is I don't think that was their downfall. Because three of the goals they conceded were set pieces,
That's
so you
true.
can't really put that down
Yeah.
to their normal tactics. I think all their goals were open play goals, weren't they?
Yep. That's true.
Yeah, it was.
That's true. So it could
Yeah.
potentially they just need a new set piece coach, and then they're
But
winning the
to be
league.
fair, we did let them off, but there were certain points in the situations where we pressed or we counterattacked and ended up with a 2-1. There was times where like Mane and Salah were doing 1-2s with each other, and then Mane just hoofed it miles up in the air. And there's certain situations where something like you come up against a Liverpool, a City, or an Arsenal, Chelsea, those kind of teams, and they'll bury them. So I
Yeah.
think they do have to be careful. Like leaving a 2-on-2 against a championship side. Again, don't know enough about the championship, but leaving a 2-on-2 against a championship side, you'd have a far more confidence in the fact that they won't score. Whereas compared to a 2-on-2 against some of the big guys in the Premier League,
You're essentially talking some of the best players on the planet. That
yeah,
that you're
it's
leaving
a
two and two
risk
on
that
here.
they
Yeah.
shouldn't always take.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they do have to balance it out a bit more.
Yeah,
But
that's essentially what I'm saying. That
Bielsa
they
knows
will
his stuff,
learn.
doesn't he?
They will learn. I think as the season goes on, and I think, like you're saying, Bielsa will definitely adapt to sort of
But
mitigate for
they
that.
did look very good.
They do.
Like,
They
gotta
do.
admit, they
I
did
think
look
they
very good.
would. I don't want to say batter, but I think in terms of the mid-table teams, if you will, and lower table teams, they will pretty much batter those teams. And I can already see Naby grinning. I know what he's gonna say, but yeah, those teams, Arsenal, not Arsenal, Leeds will batter those those mid-table
You
teams.
were thinking it
No,
yourself.
it's because I knew you were thinking it already. When I said mid-table, I was like, I'm just waiting for him to jump in.
Well,
Uh,
Arsenal finishing eighth is officially mid-table, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it is, it is, and
Talking based on facts, there. That's all.
I
Simple as
mean,
that.
for one season, like, calm down, jeez.
Oh yeah, no, obviously not. But
Yeah.
just for.
But dude, one other point that I wanted to mention, but I guess we probably
Yeah,
already touched on it with the defense was it, and in terms of the interviews that I sort of listened to after the game as well, it was quite open. I can't remember who it was one of the Leeds players where he pretty much said that they practiced targeting Trent Alexander-Arnold because they knew I guess essentially that's his weakness. In terms of defending going forward, I don't think you can fault him, but it's going back.
yeah.
I think it's always been the issue with Trent, and I suppose with Liverpool it kind of works out quite well because teams, like I was saying earlier, teams before didn't really press you, whereas I think teams are starting to suss you out a little bit, and they are starting to realize if you press, they will make mistakes like any other team. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. What I would say is I think it's always been quite obvious that the side to go for is the Trent and Gomez side. I think teams have done that previously. Probably not as often, and we
Mhm.
might see it more often this year, but it's definitely always been the strategy or the target. When teams go to attack us, they're always looking for the Trent Gomez side of things. And that's the younger side, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
both 20, 21 years old, 22 years old, whereas the Van Dijk's 29 and Robert's 27, 28. So it's that gap.
Is
There's
it?
nothing we can do. They just have to learn, gain experience, become better defenders, and build up on that, aren't they? There's not much we
Is it
can
not
do
usually
about
the
that.
job of like Fabinho Henderson to cover for Arnold?
That's what they've been doing. But as I said earlier, I don't think our midfield had the same energy as we normally do. So Trent got left one on one more often than he normally might have done. He does need to get better in those positions. But I would have to give more to Leeds of the fact that they just
Yeah,
done really
to be
well
fair,
there.
don't want to
Um,
take too much away from them. They were pretty good. You could potentially,
but
yeah,
I think Fabinho needs to start. I think we do need him to start. Um, there are people thinking that Matip could probably come in as centre back and put Gomez as right back, obviously being a better defensively. But then that obviously takes our threat away from on the right hand side. It's basically completely relying on Salah to do all the attacking work with Gomez there. So it's something for Klopp to think about, isn't it? Really.
yeah.
But the defense is a bit of a worry
Or
with how open
he
we
could
were.
just
But
have a chat with his fellow countrymen at United. You can teach him how to defend, I'm sure, and vice versa. Trent can teach him how to cross
Yeah,
the ball.
yeah, they
Yeah,
should have one-on-ones together.
yeah.
yeah,
I suppose it's one of these things you ever wonder if professionals ever do sort of kind of have these discussions. But I suppose it depends on whether if they're even friends or not. These guys might not even speak to each other. I suppose one plays for Liverpool, one plays for United. They most likely won't speak to each other.
well, I guess
I don't know.
Trent definitely wouldn't like a United player born and
Oh, because he's
bred, I
Liverpool
guess.
through and
But
through, isn't he?
yeah, whereas Wan-Bissaka came from Palace, didn't he?
Crystal
So
Palace, yeah, he's a London boy, I think.
yeah, so it might be different there.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not sure if you've got anything more you wanted to chat through in terms of the Liverpool game.
well, I just want. Are you worried, Shihab, about yours and I's prediction about Allison getting Golden Glove now that he's already down one?
Still get it. Confident, very confident. We'll see. I don't see many clean sheets happening this season. I think with the top six being a lot closer together this year, from my feeling at least, and and the strong team coming up as well in Leeds. I don't think there's huge amounts of clean sheets there for any team, but yeah, I'm still confident Alisson can get a clean sheet.
Fair. And moving on to like I said, oh sorry, before we move on, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to sort of um chat about on the Liverpool
Yes.
front?
What else can we talk about to avoid talking about Arsenal?
I was actually going to move into Chelsea right now, actually.
Oh well, that's another good way of avoiding talking about Arsenal.
I was going to move on to Chelsea. I'm not sure if you guys watched the game yesterday, but I did. And personally, just to sort of give an overview before sort of going into it, I 3-1 flattered Chelsea, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
I think looking at it, a draw probably would have been a fair result. But I guess in football, you get what you deserve. Yeah, I don't know. Chelsea. I was even mentioning to Carl in the chat yesterday. I suppose it is the fact they had two new players on the pitch, but I suppose if you look at it, uh, two new players, new to the system. Sorry, and they just looked uncoordinated. Like no, I'm not even just talking about Havertz and uh, what's his name? I forgot his name.
Werner.
Werner.
Werner. Yeah, I'm not even just talking about those two. Um, like the whole team, the pressing. There was a point where Werner was pressing, and it kind of reminded me of Ox. I think we were playing Bayern Munich, if I'm not mistaken, when he was literally running around like a headless chicken pressing. And then he turns around and sees he's the only one that's pressing. All his teammates are sort of back in his own half, and then he just sort of lifts up his hands, kind of like, "What? Why aren't you guys sort of pressing with me?" For me, I have one thing I kind of realized yesterday. It might be slightly controversial, but they have a really good team, an amazing team, in fact. But I don't think Chelsea will ever win the league with Frank Lampard. I
Do you know?
genuinely
I
don't.
was just about to say I don't think Lampard's good enough.
No, I genuinely don't think Chelsea because even sort of looking at last season and this, I could be absolutely talking nonsense, but based off the limited viewing I've had of Chelsea, I can't really outrightly say, "Oh, this is the type of football that Lampard is trying to play," or "This is the kind of system that Lampard is trying to play." I can't pinpoint anything um, with that. to be honest. And another thing as well, they do need a new goalkeeper, obviously. But yeah, like I said, personally, I don't think Chelsea will win the league with Frank Lampard. They have the players to be able to win the league, but not the coach. I think Lampard would be a good assistant coach, but not a.
What do you think about them taking Pochettino? Like, imagine a
I
Pochettino
would,
there or
no, no.
a
Let's not talk about
Ancelotti.
that. Let's not talk, because if they do now, yeah, for me, if they take a coach like that, Pochettino, you are talking within 2 seasons. I would expect with the current players that they have, and that's also factoring in the new keeper that's coming in. I would expect within sort of 2 seasons to be challenging for the title with Poch. Whereas with Lampard, you kind of obviously have to sort of be slow with it, give him a little bit of all this and all that. But yeah, anyway, that's sort of my overview piece. Like I said, the draw would have been a fair result. Brighton, I think they could potentially do quite well again as well this season. They were playing some really nice football.
Yeah, I feel like they play good football under Graham Potter.
Yeah,
It was nice to see Lallana get some game time
he
and do
played really
well. It's
well as
shame,
well.
shame he got injured. That's the
Yeah,
problem, and that's been his problem for the last few years, really. Great player if you can keep him fit. Um, but I thought Werner showed what he can do. I
yeah,
think Havertz will take a lot longer to settle
yeah.
based on that game.
I also
I
think
think
Havertz.
Havertz will take some time.
I don't know what you think. Looking at his frame, I think he might need to bulk up a little bit because he seems really, really skinny. Because even
Maybe he should go to Bayern for a training camp and come back.
because
That might
that's
help
even
him out.
one of the things that Timo Werner said was in terms of defenders was that I never played against such big players before. I don't know if you saw the interview after the game where he was
Yeah,
saying
he said 3 big centre backs. He's
yeah,
just
he's like,
never
I've never
seen that.
played against like that in my career before. So it seems like he
But he's
relishes
rapid,
it.
isn't he? He's
Yeah,
rapid.
he is rapid. There was a point where I think it was Loftus Cheek had the ball and he was sort of dribbling out of Chelsea's half into Brighton's half, and literally Werner just. It's almost like he was just gliding past all the players. It ended up being a
Oh
poor
yeah,
ball, but
he's
honestly,
quick.
he's rapid.
But like even the penalty that he got,
Mhm.
not many players would have reached that ball before
No,
Ryan.
no. Because when I was watching the game, I was like, oh, I don't.
Because he overhit the pass,
Yeah,
so that all
yeah,
was down to Werner being so quick.
yeah, yeah. I was surprised they didn't take the penalty, but I suppose they have a proven scorer in Jorginho.
Jorginho,
Yeah,
yeah.
him and his.
It'd be interesting to see because obviously they didn't have their full team. Like I would expect like someone like Kovacic to start normally. Obviously Pulisic isn't fully back yet.
But
He's rapid
wasn't
as well.
Callum saying
So
that he thinks that what's his name? He doesn't think that Kovacic will be here, so, unless I'm remembering that wrong.
oh really?
Yeah, I could potentially be
That would be a
remembering wrong.
massive surprise
Yeah.
because I feel like he's one of their better players in the midfield.
It
Personally,
might be no. I think it might be Jorginho actually, not Kovacic. I think it might be he might have said that about Jorginho, not Kovacic. Um, but yeah,
so yeah, it'll be interesting, won't it?
it would, and yeah, it is a tricky one. This Chelsea, because I think it will take a little bit of time. I think I would, with all the new additions, I would sort of at the 10 game mark to start sort of be looking to see some sort of pattern of play. Then with everyone
Yeah,
sort of gelled in, the new keeper Thiago Silva will be playing, Ziyech will be in there, and you'll be expecting the sort of Havertz to sort of be finding his feet a little bit more. I do expect him to be a superstar because he's only 19 as well, 20 or something like that, isn't
yeah, he's
Yeah,
very young.
I think you guys are being a bit harsh on Frank. I think he does deserve a bit more time and a bit more time with his new signings. I actually forgot about Thiago Silva. He's told it to come in
he? Yeah.
because I'm quite interested in what happens at right back now. Because Reece James had a good game. Because when Chilwell comes back in, I'm assuming Spilicueta was supposed to go to right back, which will be harsh on James. He seems like a good fantasy option as well if he stays in.
Yeah, what do you mean, sir? Because if Chilwell was left back, isn't he? For Alonso.
Yeah, but Spilicueta, was he not playing? Was it
He
Alonso?
came
Where
on.
would
It
they
was
put him?
Alonso playing. Aspilicueta came on. I can't remember.
Oh,
I think that was who did he come on for? I can't remember. But Aspilicueta didn't start the game. It was Alonso that started the left back. Because I remember Callum was
he's
even mentioning that Lamptey was going to run rings around Alonso, which he did.
Yeah, he did.
I
Very impressed with Ampty.
Yeah.
If they go with James and Chilwell, then I think that'd be a very good fullback partnership. But I thought Azpilicueta being their captain would be back in their team at some point.
Yeah,
He might be one of those club captains that just becomes a squad player, but
yeah,
just there as a leader around the dressing room and stuff like that.
kind of like what's the
Experience.
company in his last sort of year, 2 years at City. He was more just in and around the squad,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
didn't United have a club captain who didn't always start at some
Well,
point?
they did have quite a few, like Carrick, Ashley Young.
Yeah,
We had
exactly.
that.
So
We went through a
I
period
feel
with
like
that as well.
Azpilicueta will become like one of those players.
Yeah, like it's more about the personality rather than what he actually does on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, I'm not sure if you guys want to add any more because we're about to move on to Nabi's favorite topic.
No,
Nothing.
just looking forward to seeing Liverpool versus Chelsea
Yeah,
next.
that'll be a good game. And also with that, for that, if you tune in, we will be having Callum back for the post and pre Liverpool Chelsea pod. So it'll be quite interesting to see Shihab and Callum go head to head on that. But yeah,
Who would you rather have in goals, De Gea or Kepa?
neither.
Yeah, neither.
To be fair,
Martinez.
if I'm 100% honest, right, I think I would probably go De Gea over because I don't know, Kepa is just like poppadom hands. Honestly, like anything.
What did you make of his the goal? What
I
did you make of it?
personally, I said to Callum, it was his fault. It went under his arm. Like,
Do you think there's some blame to like players like Mount who didn't close down the shot in the first place?
but this is the thing with any goal that is scored in football, there's always something the conceding team could have done to stop it. So we could analyze this to the death of it, but yeah,
It was a
for me,
savable shot.
it was close enough for the keeper to save it.
It
It
dipped on
went
him,
under
didn't
his
it? Last minute, it dipped on him. Went under his
like
hands.
Gary said. Oh, don't give me that dipping, please. You know, um,
I'm happy for him to stick around. You know what I mean? I'm
yeah.
happy to
So
see
so am
him
I. So
continue.
am I.
Why?
So,
Because
so
you just want Liverpool to face them, don't you? So Salah can smash in a few.
that's actually
Salah
a
was
good
smashing
shout.
a few against most keepers. To be fair,
That's actually a good shout. I've already made my changes and I took a points hit. Um, but yeah, that's yeah, we'll discuss that later on in the pod. But yeah, moving on to the team that is sitting pretty at the top of the league, Arsenal.
and
Uh,
not because of alphabetical order this
and
time.
yeah, exactly. Actually, thank you. Because
Is it
normally,
not?
no, it's not. We've got 3 goal difference, 3-0.
Well,
Chelsea
so
could
have
have.
Leicester.
Pardon?
So have Leicester.
Oh yeah, snap. So it is alphabetical.
At least there's some points relying
Yeah,
on it, not just
it's not
purely.
purely the season hasn't started and Arsenal are at the top of the league, what it normally
But it
is.
is still alphabetical.
Well, it's moving on. Um, I am extremely, extremely happy with the performance. The performance, the result. I'm not getting too carried away with that. For me, it is purely now what I'm looking at is just performances. Was it the 3-4-3 that he went with? Leno and Holding. And there was a bit of a surprise to see Gabriel starting, to be fair. I was expecting Saliba because obviously Gabriel arrived quite late. And Saliba has been with Arsenal for a while now. But he wasn't even in the squad. And then you had Tierney as well, left centre back. And even on that with Gabriel, that was his first game in 6 months. Obviously, because with Liga got cancelled in March, and they didn't get back. That was it.
Oh yeah,
So that
true.
was his first game in 6 months, and to be honest, for a first game, that was quite impressive. Obviously, apart from the little miscommunication, I'll put it down to you in the first couple of minutes when um, Ainsley Maitland-Niles passed the ball back to him, and then he just sort of let it run through his body. And then is it Kamara sort of tried to round Leno, but again with that Leno came in, great save. And I was also thinking about this, like it was very crucial that Leno made that save because if he didn't, I have a feeling there would have been a section of the Arsenal fan base that this is why we should have kept Martinelli and Martinez, sorry, like sort of started whichever keeper stays, there's the light is going to be on them regardless. It is one of those situations that it's a little bit unfortunate. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. But sorry, Leno and goal. Holding right centre back, Gabriel in the middle, and then you had Tierney on the other side, and then you also had Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Bellerin either side of the flanks, and then you
You're not
had
going through the whole team, are you?
pardon.
You're not going through every player saying, "Oh, this guy's amazing. He's also amazing. Oh, he was also amazing. Oh, he was also amazing."
I mean, I asked Shihab about his lineup. I didn't hear you say a single word. You
He
sat
didn't go
through and
through
listened.
every single
He,
one
he
one by
went through
one.
every single player. Because I asked what was your lineup and were you surprised by anything?
Yeah, we didn't ask you what your lineup was.
Yeah, because you're not asking me any questions, so obviously now I have to assume that myself. So.
Can I say one thing while before you guys argue too much?
Uh-huh.
I did like the fact that the way Arteta shifts in possession and out of possession.
Yep,
I thought that's very interesting, and
yep.
actually it helped Arsenal a lot with their threat.
It
I
does
think
because
Ainsley Maitland-Niles coming into the midfield
and Tierney going out to left
caused a
back.
lot of issues. Yeah, I think that shift in and out of possession caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, because even looking, I don't know, you guys probably might have seen it, the clip that was going around, where you see the goal that was scored in the Community Shield final, Community Shield, sorry, and the goal that was scored, Aubameyang goal that was scored against Fulham. They're essentially identical goals.
Yeah, yeah,
And even to the point
no,
where
yeah.
you've got Tierney on the outside providing the overlap, and then Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the inside providing the underlap, which then obviously creates the space for Oba to then cut in and do the Thierry Henry finish. And what a finish it was. And speaking of Aubameyang, he signed a new 3-year deal. I just have to put it out there. I'm absolutely buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Um, but anyway, before I was rudely interrupted with Adam, just to finish up, we had Shaka and El Neni in the middle, and Willian one flank, Aubameyang on the other, and then Lacazette down the middle. And the two debutants were absolutely phenomenal in terms of their contribution. Obviously, Gabriel had the goal, great goal. And even in terms of his numbers, he had 3 interceptions, um, which is quite decent. The clearance is 2, and he normally averages about 1.8, and even in terms of interceptions, about 2.8. Loose ball duels, 183% of them. That's 5 out of 6. And aerial duels, 60% that he won. And defensive duels, won 100% of them. And love going through these numbers and seeing Adam Nabi's reaction. And what one player I can also provide you detail on if you so wish is Willian. No, no, I won't do that. I won't bore you to death. But he's another one that I was actually really happy with his
He did get
contribution. 2
2 assists, which
assists
was
and
very good.
3 assists if you're a fantasy football player. But it was, yeah, 2 assists. And yeah, great all round as well in terms of his play. I didn't actually, as you know, get a chance to actually watch the game live. Because
Why is that exactly?
yeah, I was busy looking at animals. Actually, I was at a safari park. But anyway, that apart from that, I ended obviously watched it back. But yeah, I was very impressed with the way that the team is playing, is sort of gelling, and even sort of the sound bites coming out of Arsenal at the moment. Everyone, all the players seem really happy. Also, just a quick, I don't know if you guys saw. Did you see the clip of Dani Ceballos and
Yeah,
Edin
I didn't see
Ketcher?
that.
yeah. I hate Tobias.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
know you
look
do.
at him. He's
What do you mean? Look at
who wants that kind of player at that club? You see what he did? That was all his fault.
yeah, I don't know
All of
what
it was his fault.
I don't know what he was doing, to be honest, because that was a really high tackle, and it's
That
like
was just
what?
the sub bench warming up. Like there
Yeah,
was no need.
there was no need for that, but I don't know if you saw it. He then posted on Instagram. They were good. The kiss and made up. So But
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
just being told to do that. He's
Nah,
not.
nah,
He's just not
nah,
a
nah,
nice
nah,
guy,
nah,
is
nah.
he?
You know
Simply
these
is
things.
not a nice guy.
You know these things happen in football. You know it. Like you've been there when it's happened at fives, etc., etc. You know these
It can
things
happen
happen.
on it can happen on the training pitch and stuff, and they get
Mm,
competitive. Not just the six subs going on the pitch for the 15 minutes to warm up. That's not where it should happen.
yeah, I can't really disagree with you too much in there. But the main thing
Is
they made up.
is the Arsenal front three that played the one you want going forward?
Hey, I don't know. Well, actually, that doesn't make for great podcasting, isn't it? I don't know. Um,
You know,
no,
because you've
no.
we've previously chatted about
I
this, and
want
you said
Pepe.
Willian in the middle.
I want Pepe to be playing at the right hand side and Willian to be sort of in the middle. But that will be if Arteta shifts to a three, because at the moment we've got two in the middle. So that will be if Arteta shifts to a three, to essentially 4-3-3. If we do that, then yeah, I would be happy to see Willian in the middle. Even for Laka's goal, to be fair, if you see Willian's positioning, he was right at the center of the goal. He's the one who took the shot, which the keeper then saved and fell to Laka's feet. So even in terms of his positioning, I think he was out on the right, but it seems like it's quite fluid that he does end up central quite a lot. Obviously, you've got Hector Bellerin, who was going up and down, who also had a really good game, and he's been coming under a little bit of fire from Arsenal fans, and myself included. I put on my on my Twitter that I wanted him. I would like to see him go between him and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but he had quite a good game. It's almost seeming that he's starting to fully get over and get to his back to his to his best again, sort of getting over his crucial ligament injury, which obviously does take quite a while to get through. And also Rob Holding now is no longer going out on loan to Newcastle, which
Is
is
that
good.
due to the WWE's injury?
I personally think it is, but Arteta was pretty much saying that. Well, he told him that, don't go. I need you, kind of thing. But yeah, I think it is due to, and the fact that Saliba wasn't even in the squad as well. I think that's quite telling. I think Arteta's gonna try and ease him in because what he's still on the
So
19, which
Saliba's probably not ready.
yeah, I don't think he's ready because similar to Gabriel, he hasn't played competitively since for about 6 months, and he's also
That was one player you were excited about this year, though, wasn't it?
yeah, I
To
was
see
really
him.
excited about him. But his last season, he had quite a bit of an injury stricken season at Saint Etienne. So I think that's probably why he's sort of being eased into it rather than just sort of dropping him into the deep end. And then if he makes it, because that's the thing with the position, it's quite a sensitive one. Because for example, if I was expecting him to play in the Community Shield, but if he played him against Salah, Mane, and Firmino, and then if he makes a mistake, it could be something that he never recovers from. It could be something that could then always play on
Yep,
his
true.
mind, kind of thing. So, as I've said before, I fully back Arteta. So I do think that yeah, he's doing obviously what's best for the team and what's best for the club. So in terms of going
What about
forward,
Martinez?
uh, yeah, it's sad to see him go. I'm not gonna lie, I'm extremely sad. If I'm honest, I thought he was a better keeper out of the two, simply because I felt he commands his box better than Leno in the sense he comes for crosses, catches them, no spillage, shots, etc. Like for me, in that sense, he just seemed to command his box a lot more than Leno. But Leno
Seemed
is
more
still an
solid.
amazing. Sorry.
He seemed a bit more solid, bit more reliable.
Yeah, but then at the same time, we do have to remember that was only what 10 games that he was playing since well, not even that. Well, I suppose if you include Community Shield and FA Cup, yeah, it is about that. But
Well,
yeah,
that's good. I mean, Kepa and De Gea can't go that long without a mistake.
that is true. That is true. But the thing is, like with Martinez, 20 million, the price that he's gone for. If you'd given us what 10 million, even at the start of the season, or not even the start of the season, even before lockdown, Arsenal fans or even the club would have snatched that from you and sold him in a heartbeat. So the fact that we're getting double that now at 20 million, on the basis of what just over 3 months, not even that, 2 months work. Yeah, I can't really complain, to be honest. I can't complain
Yeah,
at all.
20 million was a lot. I mean, Romero must have been about 40, 50 million.
Well, I doubt you get that much for him. I doubt you even get 20 million for him. To be honest, even though he is a good keeper, I will give you that. He is a good keeper. So as we're sort of winding down now, I'm not sure if do you guys have any. I would assume probably not. Even though I'm actually surprised with the amount of questions Nabi was asking.
Well,
If,
I'm just all I want to say about how you're getting all giddy about Arteta and his style and all these videos of him doing the same thing. All I say, I'm interested to see what happens when teams maybe not exactly figure them out, but when they come up with tactics to stop all that. I'd like to see how they adapt to that, how adaptable they become to that, or if they've only got this style that they'll have to do over and over.
well, I hear you. But what I will say is every goal that we've scored, it's not been like that. We're scoring different kind of, like, one of the goals that we scored was a set piece at the weekend. So we are scoring a variety of goals. It's not like every single goal that we're scoring is that goes down the right and it gets switched to Aubameyang, who is now signed a new contract until 2023, just to drop it in there. And he cuts in, does a Thierry Henry, great finish.
Well, I
Um,
mean that finish, that's just a standard Martial finish.
I don't know if it's a standard Martial finish. I mean, Martial
Standard
couldn't,
Martial.
he couldn't even lace Aubameyang's boots, if I'm honest. So two completely different standards that we're talking about here. So I'm not even going to entertain that. Because one is a Golden Boot winner, one gets 10 goals a season. Anyway,
Yeah, you got more
um,
than that.
oh, 12. Clap for him. you know um but yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have any more on Arsenal that you wanted to chat through. Nope.
Of
um
Arsenal expecting any more incomings?
yes, and outgoings as well. There is murmurings that Torreira has there is discussions with Torreira to go to Torino for 22 million. So if he goes out, I would sort of expect Thomas Partey to come in. Personally, I want Thomas Partey over Aouar. Even though a lot of Arsenal fans are kind of stricken by Aouar, but personally, I still think we need that steal that Partey brings, and he also provides the pod. Like I said, there's a pod that I said this before. I think when we were talking about the transfer update, um, he provides that ball progression through dribbling and through passing, sorry, which I think a lot of people don't realize that he's actually really good at. But yeah, that is one for me that if it would be nice to get both, but Partey is a must for me.
Do you
Um,
think El
and oh,
Neni
sorry,
doing well has
there's also one sorry, Shabs, there's also one we've been linked, and there's seems to be discussions going on to sign Alex Runnerson from Dijon. He's their second keeper. I think he has like the worst save ratio in Liga. And
isn't he about 1.8 million or something like that?
yeah, I think it's just below 2 million. Yeah, and he's going to.
Bargain, mate,
Yeah.
bargain.
The one thing that I think I said this to you, Shabs, like it's a little bit strange. Like if you were Matt Macy, who's Arsenal's third choice keeper right now, and Arsenal are going out to buy someone who has the worst save ratio in League One, what does that say to you? Like how must you feel as a player? Just
Why don't you just take Carrius?
well, we're not taking carries. You can keep, because even if we took it,
Like, what's the difference, really? You know
you'd
what I
probably
mean?
end up charging us like 20 million for him, because that's the thing, we're trying to save on the keeper, we're trying to save in terms of expenditure, buy as little as possible so that we can fix the real problems in terms of midfield.
But
um
then lose Leno to injury, and what have you got left?
yeah, this is true.
League
Keeper with the
manager.
worst stats.
We've got another Kepa in our hands, Popperdom hands,
But yeah,
sorry.
what I wanted to say about Neni was, do you think him coming back and actually doing a decent job means Arteta's confident just to let Torreira go? And rely on El Neni as a backup
Yes,
option now.
yes, yeah. I'm glad you said backup option because I was going to clarify that. I think if Torreira goes, he will look to bring in another first choice midfielder, um, but have El Neni as a backup. Because like, again, I said it on the transfer pod that I do feel El Neni is a good squad player. He is sort of that consistently solid 6, 7 out of 10. He's never going to be like, well, he might have his games here and there where he's like, wow, amazing, but generally he's going to be that sort of 6, 7 out of 10, which, yeah, you can't really complain for a squad player who's sort of giving you those kind of numbers, to be fair. But yeah, again, he's another one who was impressive at the weekend. But yeah, we'll see. On to the next fixture. We've got West Ham at the Emirates. So I guess that's
Should
actually
be an easy game, that one,
actually,
really, shouldn't
actually
it?
a pretty good segue because I was gonna mention with that now. I would look to captain Aubameyang for the fantasy football as we're sort of winding down the pod now. What obviously without sort of letting us know what the changes you guys have made. What are your I don't know. I don't, your thinking, your tactics into going into this game week. Has anyone hit the panic button and gone for the wild card yet?
No panics from me. I don't know about you, Nabi.
No, I'm going to give it another week. I mean, I was disappointed how Mane didn't get anything near as much as Salah, but I think I'm going to give it another week. I will keep Aubameyang as captain
Hmm.
because they have got their two plum fixtures, but then after that, I think it'll be
It's gonna
bringing
be
in De
tricky.
Bruyne. And
It's gonna be tricky.
Well, what I would say is we've got Chelsea and Arsenal next,
Yeah,
so I'll definitely keep Mane in.
and I would definitely keep Aubameyang in as well.
I
Because
might
no,
captain
one more.
Aubameyang again, to
no,
be
no, I'm not.
honest.
I'm not saying captain. I'm just saying I would definitely keep him in because the fact that he's a midfielder and he gets an extra point for scoring goals. In terms of the Liverpool game, we may not win it, but I have confidence that if we are to score, it will be him.
Well, West Ham game, definitely. I see some
Yeah,
big
yeah.
goals coming in.
For me, definitely West Ham game. He'll be the captain. Definitely gonna captain him. One of my mates was telling me that someone used their wild card because they thought that they would get it every single week. No, it was the triple captain. Sorry, they used the triple captain because they thought they would get the triple captain every single week. Which I just found quite funny. So yeah, if you are listening, triple captain. It's once a year, isn't it? And it's a wild card that you get refreshed in
It's a once a
January.
year, yeah.
And the
Yeah,
wild
yeah,
card, you
that's
can
right.
use it. You get it twice a year. Once now, up until
Yeah.
January, you get a new one in January. And if you don't use your wild card now, you don't get two in January. Just to clarify that as well. They don't accumulate. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have any. That was pretty brief in terms of the
Got one thing.
yeah.
I'm probably going to swap out Son after the shambles this weekend. Um,
Well, actually, yeah,
Possibly even get an Everton player in.
we said we'll speak about this team. Let's speak about this team briefly. We didn't actually mention them. I do have a feeling it's going to be you two against me, obviously. But
I wouldn't say
if if
against. I did
if
just say they had a shambles.
yeah, and if you are as confident as you are within them, why would you then remove Son?
I just feel like they're going a bit slowly. They're clearly not fit enough yet.
They've had the same
I
time
don't
off
know
as
who
everyone.
their next
They've had
game
the same time
is.
off as everyone else.
I know, but they're clearly lacking in something right now. The players are there, so just waiting to see them click into gear. I thought the first half they were actually decent. They had the better chances. Both teams played okay first half, but I thought Tottenham had the better chances. Other than the fact that Richarlison had that chance, which was from a Tottenham mistake.
Yeah.
Um, and then second half they just weren't good enough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that doesn't mean they can't
for me,
improve,
second half
obviously.
they
But
never came out. To be honest, they literally
yeah,
never came
which
out.
is the worry, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And I
But
actually
first
had
half did show some signs.
I actually have a question that I wanted to ask, and I promise you this is not a dig. It's just genuine intrigue to Adam. Do you see any resemblance in the Tottenham Mourinho to the United Mourinho in terms of I guess the attitude of the players, because I'm kind of seeing similar things.
Well, actually, I know I would agree because there was definitely one moment which came to me as I think Gary Neville was talking about in the commentary how he wasn't seeing any combinations. It was just single passes,
Yeah,
and they didn't really have a plan after that single pass. And that was exactly how I was seeing United play under Mourinho as well. There wasn't a combination, there wasn't a plan. It was just pass here and see what happens.
exactly the same with Arsenal under Emery. It was just pass and hope, really. Because you're completely right. I do remember even seeing that, and I remember Gary mentioning that as well. Instances where Winks would get the ball and he's in a bit of space, but he's sort of just looking around. There's no movement ahead of him in terms of the strikers. There's no movement in midfield, so he ends up just sort of passing either out to the fullbacks or just back to the centre backs. And literally, it just kept on going and so for me. I do get what you're saying, Shabs. Like it is just the first game, but yeah, first impressions make I suppose yeah it is football, it is different, but yeah there's I have a feeling there's something happening at Tottenham, but not in a good way. Like how you had the
Maybe the
feeling.
return of Poch. You never know.
Yeah, but I don't think Poch. Well, he might do.
He always says he loves Tottenham,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
but
So
I do have a feeling there's something like I was saying, like when I was saying to you that if they sack Mourinho, which I don't think they will. Um, that's the only way that I see them finishing above Arsenal. But if they don't sack Mourinho, I don't see how they'll finish above Arsenal. I really don't. Because even the
we
way
just
that,
have to wait and see, won't we?
yeah, because even that, if they continue playing the way that they were playing there, good luck to them, honestly.
Yeah, they definitely need to improve. But I would say Everton actually look decent. They
Yeah,
control the game a lot.
that
Hammers, I
Allen
thought,
was
had
quite
done really
solid as
well.
well.
Allen was solid. He done well
Yeah,
against us in the Champions League, to be fair, in the past few years. So I knew a bit about him, and he always played well against us. So I expected some decent performances from him.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought getting someone in like Hammers, I thought was a great signing for
yeah, that was a really good signing.
Everton,
And then I saw a
and he might
stats.
come into my fantasy football as well.
I saw a
Possibly.
stats at the weekend after the Everton game that every single Everton player passed the ball to James Rodriguez at some point, and I was just like, wow, that just so I guess shows you the power of a player like him. Um,
Yeah, when all the rest of the team are like okay or decent players, and
yeah,
you get that star name in,
yeah,
you kind of start playing everything through that player, don't
yeah,
you? Like
and
Chelsea did with Hazard,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
and also I think we touched on it last week. I'm not sure if you mentioned it then, but it is a very good shout for them to potentially break the top six. They're a really good shout.
Yeah,
I think
with
they are.
Ancelotti as manager,
Yeah, they are.
definitely a good
They
shout.
are a good shout.
Chelsea could do someone like him, Ancelotti.
Yeah, well, they've had him before, and he got them the league, didn't he?
Yeah, but he got
Yeah,
sacked. But imagine Chelsea's current squad with an Ancelotti.
Ancelotti. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I said. Anyway, yeah. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in to episode 6. Like I said, in the description, I will put our socials. So please make sure to follow, subscribe, and comment, interact with us. Talk to us. Let us know what you think. Let us know how crazy you think Adam is. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to this episode 6. Until next time.